In a quiet neighborhood where mornings usually start with the chirping of birds and the rustling of leaves, an unexpected scene unfolded that left everyone stunned. A group of bikers roaring down the street caught the attention of the locals. Among them, one rider stood out, not for his riding skills, but for an act that shocked everyone. Without a second thought, he kicked a small playful dog that had wandered too close to his bike. Laughter echoed from the group as the dog yelped and scurried away. Unbeknownst to them, someone was watching from the shadows, a man known not just for his kindness, but for his ability to surprise. Keanu Reeves, the Hollywood star beloved for his humility and love for animals, stepped forward. His calm demeanor masked the storm brewing within. What happened next would leave the biker, and everyone watching, absolutely speechless. The street fell silent as Keanu Reeves walked toward the bikers, his steps calm but deliberate. He wasn't wearing the suit of an action hero or standing on a movie set. This was real life, and the man who had played so many larger-than-life characters was about to show just how genuine his heart truly was. The dog, a scruffy little terrier with curious eyes, had limped over to him, trembling but seeking comfort. Keanu knelt down, his hand gentle as he checked for any signs of injury. The bikers, still laughing, had no idea who he was or what was coming. "What's the big deal?" "It's just a dog," the rider said, his voice loud and dismissive. But there was something in Keanu's expression, calm yet intense, that made a few of them pause. The neighborhood began to gather, sensing the tension, as whispers spread about what might happen next. The biker's dismissive attitude seemed to fuel an invisible fire. Keanu stood, his calm composure unwavering as he addressed the group. "Do you know how much trust it takes for a dog to approach a stranger?" he asked, his voice steady but firm. The biker, taken aback by the unexpected confrontation, rolled his eyes. "Look, man, it's just a mutt. Why do you care so much?" The crowd grew, curious to see how this would play out. Among them, an older woman whispered to her neighbor, "That's Keanu Reeves, isn't it? I saw him on TV. He loves animals." The murmurs rippled through the gathering, and suddenly the bikers realized the man they were facing wasn't just anyone. But instead of backing down, the biker smirked, trying to play it cool. "All right, superstar, what are you gonna do? Lecture me." He mocked, but there was an unease in his tone now. Keanu didn't flinch. The tension hung thick in the air as everyone waited to see how this clash of egos would unfold. Keanu took a step closer, his calm gaze locking onto the biker's defiant eyes. The crowd held its breath, unsure what would happen next. The little dog, now sitting by Keanu's feet, let out a soft whimper, breaking the tense silence. "It's not about the dog," Keanu said quietly, his voice firm but calm. "It's about what it says about you." The biker's smirk faltered for a second, but he quickly masked it with bravado. "What, you gonna tell me I'm a bad guy? Get over it, man." "Life's rough," he shot back, though his tone wasn't as confident as before. The other bikers shuffled nervously, their laughter now a distant memory. Some of them glanced at the growing crowd, clearly starting to feel the weight of the moment. But the biker in question stood his ground, refusing to back down. Keena's voice broke through again, steady and clear. "Sometimes it's not about what you do when people aren't watching. It's about what you choose to do when they are." The words hung in the air, cutting through the tension like a knife. Everyone was watching now. Neighbors, the bikers, the dog. The air felt electric as the moment reached its breaking point, and all eyes were on Keanu and the biker, waiting for the inevitable confrontation. Before the biker could respond, the sound of sirens cut through the tension. Heads turned as a police cruiser slowly pulled up to the edge of the crowd. Two officers stepped out, scanning the scene with calm but curious expressions. The lead officer, a tall woman with a commanding presence, approached and asked, "What's going on here?" The biker immediately stiffened, his earlier bravado starting to crack. "Nothing, officer." "Just a misunderstanding," he said quickly, gesturing dismissively toward the dog and Keanu. But the officer wasn't convinced. Her gaze shifted to the trembling dog and then to Keanu, who was still standing protectively by its side. Keanu took a deep breath, his voice calm but firm as he explained. This man kicked the dog for no reason. It's injured and scared. The officer's expression hardened, and she looked directly at the biker. "Is that true?" she asked. The biker hesitated, his confidence visibly shaken. Before he could reply, one of his own friends spoke up. "Yeah, it happened." "It was messed up," the man muttered, looking down at the ground. The crowd gasped at the unexpected confession, and the biker glared at his friend. "Are you serious right now?" he hissed, his voice filled with disbelief. The officer stepped closer, her hand resting near her radio. "We take animal cruelty very seriously," she said, her tone leaving no room for argument. The stakes had shifted dramatically. The biker was no longer just facing public shame. He was now on the radar of the law. The crowd buzzed with whispers, and Keanu remained steady, watching as the tension built to an unbearable level. Something bigger was unfolding, and no one could predict what would happen next. The officer's steady gaze didn't waver as she waited for the biker's response. The crowd fell silent again, the weight of the moment pressing down on everyone. Finally, the biker scoffed and muttered, "Fine, yeah, I kicked it." "So what? It's just a dog." His words, dripping with arrogance, sent a ripple of disapproval through the crowd. Before the officer could respond, Keanu stepped forward, his voice calm but carrying a quiet authority. "That just a dog you kicked belongs to me," he said, his words cutting through the tension like a blade. The crowd gasped in unison, and the biker's face paled. The officer nodded, her expression firm. "Well, that changes things," she said, pulling out a notepad. "Sir, you're under investigation for animal cruelty." As she read the biker his rights, the crowd began to cheer quietly, relief and justice filling the air. Just as the situation seemed resolved, one of the younger bikers stepped forward, holding out the dog's leash. "I found this earlier," he said, his voice trembling. "I was going to give it back, but I didn't know it was Keanu Reeves' dog." The crowd turned to him, and Keanu's eyes softened. "Thank you for doing the right thing," Keanu said, taking the leash and gently attaching it to the dog's collar. "It's never too late to make a better choice." The young biker looked down, clearly ashamed but also grateful for the unexpected kindness. As the police escorted the biker away, the crowd began to disperse, buzzing about what they'd just witnessed. Keanu knelt beside his dog, scratching behind its ears as the little terrier wagged its tail. "Let's go home," he whispered, a small smile playing on his lips. And with that, he walked away, leaving behind a story that no one in the neighborhood would ever forget. As Keanu and his little dog walked away, the neighborhood felt a renewed sense of community. People who had gathered began talking about what they'd witnessed, sharing a mix of admiration for Keanu's calm yet firm response and the unexpected turn of events. The young biker who had handed over the leash stayed behind, quietly reflecting on his choices, perhaps inspired by the kindness shown to him despite the chaos. The terrier trotted happily beside Keanu, its tail wagging as if the morning's ordeal had never happened. Keanu glanced down, his expression warm. "You're tougher than you look, buddy," he said softly. For the neighborhood, the day served as a reminder that even small actions, whether cruel or kind, have a ripple effect. For the biker, it was a wake-up call. And for Keanu and his dog, it was just another day proving that kindness always leaves a lasting mark.